Hey everyone, it's Evelyn Cosplay from Dutch Cosplay Couple, and welcome back to my Ygritte costume tutorial. After I glued all the pieces together, I used a sewing machine to sew the pieces of the coat together, and I also used a very thick thread and needle to sew the visible seams. And the needle gets through the fabric it's very hard to push it through, so oh hey, Spider-Man! I protected my hand with some paper and some tape to push it through, and to pull the needle through I used some rubber gloves. But you could also use something else to first make some holes and then push the needle through, but I preferred this in some places. I just used some acrylic paints and a sponge to weather the coat, and this I used different types of brown just to get that natural looking leather effect. And after I was done with the brown weathering, my coat looked like this. And you can see all the loose flaps hanging, and those still need to be bound together, but I'll explain that later. The snow was also done by using a sponge and acrylic paint. And you just put some paint on a sponge and just dab, dab, dab. And try to get this asymmetrical and irregular patterns to give it a natural look. And you could have fun and go ahead and add as much snow as you want. And this is what the coat looked like after I was done with the snow weathering. And you could add as much snow as you want, and I just preferred this amount. And I think it looks awesome. I made laces out of the same fabric I made my pants out of, and I just made pieces that were like 2 centimeters wide, and I painted them with white acrylic paint and also some browns. And this is what you get when you bind your fur very tightly. I just cut some holes with scissors and pulled the laces through. And sometimes it was hard to get the laces through, and you just like make some sort of hook with some metallic thread, and you just pull it through like that. It can be hard, but eventually it'll work. And this is the rope that goes around the hood, and I just weathered it with water and acrylic paint. Just put it in there and go through it with your fingers and really push the paint in there to make sure everything has about the same color. Alright, the buttons. Ygritte has some sort of nails, like really big nails like that, that she uses to close her coat. And I just used some thermoplastics. Those are these tiny white balls, and you heat them up with your heat gun, and you can form it into the shape you want. And I just painted it with acrylic paint, and it worked as well. I mean, in my opinion, it looks great. It really gave the result I wanted, and I'm very pleased with it. I used a thinner rope or very thick thread, however you want to call it, to bind the buttons to my coat, and I really love the effect. Alright, onto the gloves. Just use the same fake leather and the same fake fur as my coat, and I only glued the fur to the places where I had the seams and where the fur would be visible, to prevent my gloves from getting too warm. and you can only see the outside, so who cares what the inside looks about. I just use some very simple black thread and just a very simple way of sewing it together. Like you go from down there and push it through and then repeat that. And the pants, I weathered the pants with a tea dye before I painted it with acrylic paint. I just used a black tea, and this was Earl Grey. You could also use like English blend, I think, and I think that will work better, but I'm not sure about that. You just have to practice a little bit and see what you prefer. I use very simple cheap white acrylic paint and a sponge to really work the paint into the pants. Also, I also used brown acrylic paints to weather it. Well, as you can see, this is what you get when you use acrylic paint to weather your pants. And yeah, that's not really what you want, but I have worn the pants and it's alright. I mean, I knew it was gonna happen, but I just did it anyway, but it was okay. Alright, the boots. I used secondhand shoes as a base and just glued something on top of that. Make sure you really work the glue into the fur, because you want it to be very sticky and stick together very well, and eventually you get something like this. And I really didn't pay any attention to the shape of the boots because they will be tucked in the pants anyway. I also added some fur on the inside of the pants, and I also added some white paints to give a little bit of that snowy effect. And if you've done all that, you have yourself a very nice Ygritte cosplay. And this is the end result. Well, here I'm still missing one glove and I didn't paint the fur, but eventually you get something like this, and this was on stage. Alright you guys, that's it for now. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I hope that you liked my costume. If you did, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and I'll keep you updated about my cosplay life. And give this video a thumbs up. See you in my next video.